Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be your mid-month reading for Virgo, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the 15th to the 31st of January. Now, I am actually recording this as a bonus reading because I did the main reading for Virgo and I wasn't very happy with it actually because it made literally no sense to me whatsoever. It felt like it was probably very specific, but probably for only one person. So I'm having a go at doing a bonus reading just for everybody else because, and also because, I have mild perfectionism issues, and because I didn't understand the message that I was bringing forward, I felt kind of compelled. I asked the cards if I should do it, and they went, yeah, record a bonus one. So, here I am. We'll try and bomb through this one really quickly so you're not stuck for hours watching Virgo videos. Right, give me 3 cards for Virgo, please. Thank you. First one, Page of Swords. Talk about incoming messages. Whoa, 2 of Pentacles. Okay. And one more. The Moon. Right, okay. I feel like this is actually probably going to be more or less the same reading, but we'll see how it goes. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Empress, which came out for you in the initial reading. So, talks about fertility and abundance. Talks about bringing in new things. It's quite an expansive energy. Actually, it's also the card of Taurus. So, we've got the Page of Swords. We've got the 2 of Pentacles. We've got the Moon. Right. These 2 cards either side here also came out in the first reading, and I've done like the Gemini one since then and shuffled it like 50,000 times, so this is not coincidence. This is the energy that you're sat in at the moment, right? You've had some news and it's not been fun, it's not been good, or it's the truth, right? Because it's swords, it's page, right? It looks very grave. It's the truth, but it's maybe been quite clumsily delivered. I mean, look how serious he looks there. He's not enjoying the delivery of that message. And I feel like this put you in a state of some turmoil because like 2s are internal. Like whenever you get a 2 card, it talks about your inner world. And because it's Pentacles, like she's juggling. But it's resources, and these can be emotional, they can be mental resources, they can be, your actual physical resources, stuff. But there's a sense of juggling, right? And then some 2 of Pentacles cards, that looks like it's like in my Triple Goddess deck. She looks genuinely delighted with her ability to be able to juggle these things. It's really cool. But this one's a much more difficult state, right? For a start, that character does not look happy about what they're trying to juggle there. And they're stood on one leg on the end of a jetty with, look at that water behind, right? That is an absolute emotions internal. And that's a sense of trying to keep all your balls up in the air whilst everything is going to shit behind you, inside your head. It's really strong emotions. And I imagine it's off the back of whatever this information is that you've received, whatever, message came to you. And then we've got the Moon, and the Moon is about the things that are hidden, right? So some people say it's about secrets and stuff like that, but I don't really see it that way because it's a major arcana card, right? I feel like there are other cards that can talk about things being obscured and hidden in a dishonest kind of way. This one for me talks about your inner world, right? It talks about your subconscious. It talks about your connection to your higher self. It talks about all of those things that bubble underneath your psyche, right? Those triggers and wounds and things like that. Things that you react to without even realizing that that's what it is. And these feelings that dictate how you respond to the outside world without you even being consciously aware that that's what you're doing, right? There's a lot of water on here, and there's the Moon. So I feel like whatever this information is that you've got, and whatever message you received, whatever communication it's been quite hurtful, quite cutting, quite wounding, has left you in a state of some turmoil. And you're keeping your shit together. That's the important thing to note here. Keeping your shit together. But it's really hard, and you're not enjoying it. And there's this maelstrom behind you that looks like, you know, you're in imminent danger of getting washed off that jetty right there. Like, why are you standing there? That does not look like a safe place to be. And then we've got this, and I feel like this has triggered off an awful lot of things inside you. It's been a cascade. That water runs really, really deep right there, and the moon is so bright. There's a lot of internal work that you're needing to do at the moment, and you're aware of it, and you're trying to do it, but you're in a state of flux. Right? There's no stability there implied by that card. Right? There's managing, there's coping, there's surviving, but it's unsustainable, I feel. Ouch. So, what's coming towards Virgo in the last 2 weeks of January? What's coming towards Virgo? What's coming towards Virgo in the last 2 weeks? Fuck. Alright, one more card. I'll tell you why I'm smoking. One more card for Virgo, please. What's coming towards Virgo? Oh, that one. Pure jumped out. Right, okay. So, exactly as was the same in the initial reading, you have 3 major arcana that have come up as to what's coming towards you. And I've got the High Priestess, this card of Pisces, major arcana. Card of Taurus or Libra. For me it's Taurus always, but some people say it's Libra, which is number 3. And then we've got the card of Leo, which is number 8, right? The Empress has already been out a dozen times, so that's important. It's a repetitive message. But the High Priestess is another card of things that are hidden. It's another card of the internal world, the internal space, right? She's the keeper of knowledge. She's the keeper of wisdom, right? And she sits, for me, between the end and the beginning, right? She doesn't volunteer information, though. So it's all about what's going on inside. And she's highly driven by intuition, right? The moon, to me, speaks of intuition as well. What's coming towards you is you coming out of this sort of sense of practical needing to survive, and then being led by how you feel about something. Right? She's a very passive card. She doesn't move much. I mean, I would say only the Hanged Man really supersedes the High Priestess in terms of passivity, really. She watches, she observes, and if she does move at all, which is very rare, not very often, then it's because she's been guided to do so by her intuition. And that's you. That's how you're going to approach these last couple of weeks of January. And then we've got the Empress, and the Empress came out in the first reading, it's come out already in this reading, and here she is again, right? The Empress is the mother. She's the Queen of Queens. She embodies all of the traits of all of the queens right here. And some say she's you know, the Emperor and the Empress is the divine partnership. But that side, this is a woman who's in some serious contemplation. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but her eyes, although she's looking forwards, her eyes are kind of glazed over, like she's looking at something on the inside of her head. These two together, right? 2s are internal, 3s are external. It feels like whatever conclusions that you come to here, whatever understandings you reach, whatever your intuition tells you to do, you're going to follow it with the Empress, right? Because it's expansive, it's bringing new things into the world. It can be a card of new starts as well. She's often depicted as pregnant. And that's when the whole fertility and abundance thing comes through, because she is literally birthing something new into the world. And what it is I think your newfound sense of intuition, like being driven by your intuition rather than duties, responsibilities, you know, like I posted a thing on Instagram earlier. There's something about convention being crystallization, and some of us wish to be dissolved, or something like that. It was a quote by A. Waite. But I feel like that's a bit like what's going on here. Like if this is the convention right here, this juggling of, you know, resources and the stuff in the material right here, because this is a very material card. You know, it's what's going on around you in the 3D, because it's pentacles. What's going on is this incredible, you know, emotional turmoil behind it. So you're finding some stillness, and then the revelations that you will acquire from this stillness, from going within and from listening to your intuition, listening to your subconscious, and moving forwards in that way. This is what you're bringing out. And then we've got strength. Now, this is the card of Leo, and I love this card, obviously, because I'm a Leo, but my heart always thinks a little bit when I see it, because the kind of strength that it talks about is really is internal strength of character. And it's a sad fact that strength of character is generally built by adversity, right? Difficult circumstances. This is what makes Leos really, really strong, because they suffer in a lot of ways, and then, you know, they pick themselves up by the scruff of the neck every single fucking time, and then they just keep plodding on. You know, it makes for a really strong iron core. But what it means is, when this card comes up, it means that you're facing circumstances that make you need to draw on the reserves of that kind of internal strength of character that you've built up through adversity. So I'm gonna pull one more card for that. See if we can't get some sense of what that is. But it's a really strong combination of cards there. The Priestess and the Empress are the inner and the outer, and the 8. The strength card being 8 is all about being able to see it through, I guess. Having the strength to see through what's coming. One more for the strength card, please. Strength. Justice. I thought we were going to get through one reading without justice coming up, but no. Justice, King of Pentacles. So, like I've been saying for months now, justice for me talks about the end of karmic contracts, the paying off of karmic debts, new balance being brought into your life where there was perhaps less before. Strength at the bottom of the deck again. But it can talk about legal issues. It can talk about you know, any kind of going to court for anything. We can talk about business. We've got the King of Pentacles here. Now, that's strictly Taurus, but it could indicate you as an earth sign. You know, this is a business owner. This is somebody who takes care of their. Oh, fuck's sake! That came up in the last one. Both of these cards came up in the last reading as well. Somebody who's on top of their material shit, right there, right. It's somebody who doesn't get surprised by things. It's quite a slow-moving energy, but it's very methodical, and it plans for the future, because it's masculine. That's quite a masculine trait, to plan for the future. So there's a balancing coming out, you know. And then this planning for the future. I don't know why I keep hearing that over and over again. Planning for the future. Just trying to see if there's anything else that was bubbling around there, but no, I think that's about it. So I'm just going to pull one more card, because it seems like a vague place to end on. End that bit on, anyway. Yeah, see, now we've got the Empress at the bottom of the deck here, and we've got the Page of Wands. That talks about, well, for me that's the card of Sagittarius, but it talks about new starts. Right? It talks about being excited about going off in a particular direction, and this is an interesting combination of cards when you've got somebody who's put in the groundwork, or putting in the groundwork to do something to look after themselves and their material circumstances, right? Their future thinking, all that sort of planning. And then this is quite a naive energy. This is an exciting, adventurous, kind of want to go out and see everything, do everything, experience new things, you know, all that kind of stuff. It seems what's coming towards you is the opportunity to be able to do that. And like I said, Empress is there again. The birthing of new things into the world. Right, let's get three cards of advice, and then we'll wrap this up. Right, 3 cards of advice, please, for Virgo. Two, and one of them was your card of advice for the earlier reading. For fuck's sake. I'm not even sure if it's worth putting out the earlier one, because this one seems like it's a more succinct version of it, but like, it'd be read. Right. One more card for Virgo, please. 9 of Swords in reverse. Alright, at the bottom of the deck we've got the 5 of Cups now. That talks about grief, it talks about regret really, really strongly as well. Yeah. Deep, deep regret. I mean, some readers say it's the crying over spilt milk card, and I really hate that, because I think that it can be much more profound than that right there. You know, it's real sadness in that card. The crying over spilt milk thing comes because there were 5 cups and 3 of them are knocked over, but there are 2 that still remain behind. Yeah. There are still, and whatever the cups are filled with, obviously they're filled with emotion and stuff like that, but whatever circumstance they refer to, there are 2 still upstanding. Just because 3 are lost, it doesn't mean all is lost. Anyway, the 3 cards that you've got are the King of Cups, the Lovers, and the 9 of Swords, but it's in reverse, which is good. We like that. So the King of Cups, it's advice, so I'm not going to interpret it as a person, right? The King of Cups is in charge of his own emotions, right? He's sat in the middle of quite a torrent. It's the ocean, basically, but he's sat on a stone throne, right? And he's in no danger of getting washed off, right? He wears his emotions quite comfortably. He is emotionally available. That's really important. And the message is not to shut down, I think. You know, you've got some deep stuff going on ahead. Yeah, you know, at the moment, clearly, big emotional turmoil and all that kind of thing, and then really deep water here that needs the depths plunging off somewhat. But try and remain open when you do it, because I think the temptation would be to shut down, particularly if you're in, you know, some sort of regretful frame of mind. Don't let it shut you down. Then there's the Lovers, right? And this is a card about making a choice. You need to make a decision about something one way or the other, I think. Right there. And it's a life-changing decision, but don't run into it, and don't come at it from a shut down emotionally point of view, right? You stay in your emotions, but safely, comfortably, in a controlled way. Make the decision from there. And then we've got the 9 of Swords in this way. Around it talks about grief and mental anguish and you know, overthinking quite spectacularly. Insomnia, depression. You know, if you're having a shit time, you can guarantee that this card's coming up here. And like, that card to me suggests that you're having a bit of a shit time. But in the reverse, it talks about coming out of that state. It talks about stopping the overthinking. It's about getting enough sleep. It's about getting enough rest, you know, all that kind of thing. And it's about coming out of your head. In fact, these two cards come from very different places. So there's another way we can interpret this in a second. But, you know, this is all very cerebral. It's all very intellectual. It's all it's your brain torturing you, is what it is. And this is a disconnection from being driven by those kind of energies. This is really heart-centered. It's coming from there. So coming out of that kind of situation. But if you want to, because the Lovers came out slap bang in the middle, you could interpret this as an either or. Right, so either you remain open, you get in control of your emotions, and you master them. You remain open and emotionally available and all that kind of thing, and that's the best thing for you, right there. Or you fall prey to this behavior, and this is damaging. Like, this doesn't solve anything. It doesn't make anything better. And if you are in that state, then you need to consider getting assistance to get yourself out of that state, whatever assistance that might be that you might need. Because it's not fun. It's absolutely not fun, and there's no shame in getting help for it. So, yeah. But the fact that it came out that way around, I feel like the first interpretation is the important one. Like, you're going to pull yourself out of this situation, right? By understanding the importance of the emotional availability, right there. And not shutting yourself down, not shutting your emotions down. Particularly since what's coming towards you is this internal, being driven by the internal rather than reacting to events. I think that's important. So I'm going to leave it here. And I may or may not upload the first one. I was so fucking baffled by what was coming out. It seems to have come out much easier this time. I might just upload it for the crack. Anyway, yeah. So if it resonated, I'd love it if you would like the video or leave a comment or something like that, and subscribe. But other than that, I will see you in about a week, 10 days for the February. I've forgotten how to speak. For the February monthlies. Yes. Okay, bye.